So here is my lesson 65 or 56, sorry, assignment. I feel like I really overthought this and there's probably an easier way, but this is what I came up with. So basically import the necessary modules, set up the joystick, declare a number of points variable for how many times to go through the different loops for calibration, as well as a few other variables. Basically print a message telling the user that they're calibrating the joystick, and then ask them to center the joystick and not to move it. Give them a little bit of a delay to be able to get that done. And then each time through this for loop, which is the number of points variable, we basically capture the x and y values, add it into the sum variables, and then at the end we'll divide that sum by the number of points to get an average for the x and y when it's not being moved. Then we'll basically display a message asking the user to move the joystick through its full range of motions. I set up some variables I need for this loop, a max and a min, which is what I'm after to get here for both the y and the x, and as well as a count. So print a message every 50 times through this loop. Basically I use the same number of points, collect the x and y vals, and just collect the maximum and the minimum values of all those passes through the loop. And hopefully if the user is moving the joystick all through its full range, we should capture the maximum and minimum values in each axis. And then this count is just every 50 times it'll print a message to keep moving the joystick, and then again it gives it a little sleep. After we get all those, then I basically capture the center portion, and what I do is I take the center, which was the average we got up there, and then I use 1/100th of the area from that center to the x max as the range where it would be 0 basically. And then the same for x min, 100 to -100, and the same for y max. So and then basically just tell the user the calibration's complete, and then to just show that it works, read the x and y value, and then just a series of if statements. So if the x value or the y value falls in that range of y x max and x min for 0, it will just be the calibrated number will be 0. If it's greater than the maximum of that 0 range, then basically it uses this formula to map the value being gotten between 1 and 100 of the range above that x max 0 to x max, and then the same for x min, and then the same for y and for both max and min. I hope that makes sense. I actually tried just setting an offset by collecting this average and doing an offset from the range to bring it back to the center of the range, and then doing one formula that would go from -100 to +100 with 0 in the middle, thinking that if with the offset 0 should just naturally land in the middle, but it actually was not in the middle. It wasn't reading 0, 0 nearly as much as I liked. So that's why I went to this 4 different zones or 6 different if statement model. So I'll actually start the program. I'm not going to show you the setup. It's the same setup you showed us. It's pretty straightforward. So if I'll expand this a little bit just to allow you to see it a little more. I'll stop the program. So here it says center joystick and do not move it, so that's what I've done. And then moving it through the full range of motion, which is what I'm doing now. and then it says calibration complete. So now I've left go of the joystick, and you can see it's reading mostly zeros. Every now and then there's a spurious one that's actually quite far off, jumps in on either side, but it's fairly consistently reading zeros. And then if you see, if I'm pushing it up now, it goes up to be the full 100 almost all the time. Pulling back and down, and you can see 99.8, 99 point, well, there's 100, but minus 99.8. So I got pretty close to the full range of 100 there. And then right, you can see the X reads 100, 99.8, 100, and then left. And I can move, smoothly through the range, both X and Y. So I think I accomplished the goal, but like I said, I think it was probably much more complex. So I'm anxious to see how you did it, see if there's an easier way.